Welcome to Theo Trade. This is Don Kaufman. You are joining me here on the Theo Night video for June 1st, 2016. What did we see in the markets today? Well, ladies and gentlemen, a whole lot of nothing over there, which is exactly why I'm going to talk a bit more about trading tactics and a strategy that I utilized today to push a trade further out in time for a credit. However, before I descend deeply into this trade that I did on Facebook, one thing I do want to give you guys a quick heads up is that even though the markets were rather docile today, recognize what is going to hit us tomorrow on the calendar. I just want to throw this out to you. Again, coming into Thursday, June 2nd, you are looking at ECB announcement, Ivan Drago. Okay, his name is Mario Draghi, but nevertheless, not much expected out of the ECB announcement. You have to be a little bit careful there. What is the ECB? Well, it's the European Central Bank. It's the Fed over in Europe, again, headed by what I call Mario Draghi, Ivan Drago. Then we have the ADP employment report. Not a big one over here, but moving down the list, you got to be a little careful tomorrow. They move the petroleum status report to, that's 8 a.m., but that's Pacific time, so that's 10 a.m. Central. On top of it, though, at the exact same moment, you got a 30-year bond announcement and a 10-year note announcement, so be careful there. If you've got some intraday positions on, markets could be rocking just a little bit, again, on an intraday position. Also, prior to the open, at 4:45 a.m., Ivan Drago will come out and give the statement of the ECB. Nevertheless, let's go over to Facebook. So when the markets do absolutely nothing, let's talk a little bit about tactics. Let's talk a little bit about strategy. I had a Facebook trade on. Now that trade, I'm going to recreate it for you, happened to be none other than a 119-117 put spread. Now, we had originally purchased this put spread some weeks ago, and like most spreads that I buy, and they're called in-out spreads, I buy them for right around $1. Okay, so you buy the spread for right around $1. Well, here we are. We're coming very close to expiration. The trade, it hasn't really been a winner, it hasn't really been a loser, but it earlier today was kind of drifting in and around its break-even point. So a decision has to be made. Okay, you can't sit there and do nothing with a position like the deer in the headlights, because then you're just going to leave the market ultimately to make that decision for you. So one of the things I'll tell you time and time again is that in this business, indecision is going to cost you more often than the wrong decision. So that basically means doing absolutely nothing will probably cost you a lot more than pulling the trigger and doing the wrong things, which shocks a lot of people, but at least you're doing something. However, trading at times becomes more than just a science, and this is where there's a little bit of art to the trade. Now, I am not a big advocate, quote unquote, of fixing a position, but what I will do is I will take a trade and I'll pick it up from one expiration and I will push that trade to the future expiration. And that's exactly what I happen to do today inside of what is considered a roll. Is I picked up the position, and I'm going to elaborate a little bit by displaying one of the positions that I've got on here. I picked up the position from the June 3rd expiration, and that's, again, that it's done in 2 days from now, right? It's Wednesday. That thing is cooked and done by Friday expiration. So I picked up the position that only had 2 days left, and I just moved it into the 23-day expiration. So we emailed out that trade idea to all of our clientele here at Theo Trade, and I got quite a few emails that are like, well, but how do you do it, and what's the mechanics of it? Well, it's actually considered a roll, and I'm going to show you again in terms of the order and what the strategy looks like. And also, I trade a lot throughout the course of the day, but it's considered a roll. And what that happens to look like, well, now I'm going to create a full duplicate order. This was the roll that I executed earlier today, and I was able to do it for a 1 penny credit. So again, to explain this in a bit more detail, I took the two contracts that I was currently in, and that was the what? That was the June 3rd, which is right here. Okay. Now I owned that spread. I had originally bought these 119s, right? Then I turn around and I sold these 117s. How do I get out of that position? Well, anything you do to get out of it, you do the opposite. So I turn around then, and if you look very carefully, I what? Sold, okay? I sold the 119s for the June 3rd, and then I bought back the 117s, right? So I unwound this position by doing the opposite. These I bought, these I sold. Then I took the trade and did the exact same opening position. Where? In the June 24th contract, where I turned around then and I bought, okay, the 119 puts, sold the 117 puts, and was able to do the trade for a 1 penny credit. Now, this is so weird because it looks like a minus 1 penny credit, because you're actually buying a trade. You're buying a trade for a credit. And I'm just pushing myself out in time, but I'm not costing myself anything. And if you're thinking right now, you're like, but there's transaction costs. Well, of course there is. For anything you're going to do, there's going to be transaction costs. The reality of the business. Hopefully, you received a little bit of a credit, and some of you guys were able to get 2 or 3 cents for this. Hopefully, if you got that credit, at the very least, it offset the transaction cost. Now, the whole key to the roll is we don't ever roll for a debit. You're getting paid to roll, or you don't roll at all. You get paid to roll, or you don't roll at all. And that's one of the key components. And again, when you start to learn a bit more about trading, I don't like the term, again, fixing a losing trade. Trade really wasn't losing. It was kind of at the money. The trade was on the dance floor. And when I say a trade's on the dance floor, I mean, come on, you're sitting right at 118. We could go up, we could go down, but why chance it in the next 2 days? That doesn't make any sense. People that leave positions on to expiration is because they're just trading on hopium, all right? It's like the best drug in the marketplace. I hope things work out. Hopium does not pay you. Smart trading pays you. You pick the trade up, okay? Because you don't know what the market's going to do in the next 2 days. You pick the trade up and give yourself, what, 23 days. Now, if the market sells off a little bit more in Facebook, now you might have yourself a profitable position. And in the end, all this roll did is I put it on for a 1 penny credit, just push the trade further out in time. And again, it didn't cost me anything to do so other than transaction costs, which hopefully are offset by the 1 penny credit out there. And these are things to think about when you're getting a little bit deeper into trading. And I know for some of you, you're really new to this, and I don't know if I could get into a roll. We have tons of coaching sessions. We did an entire week here at TheoTrade just on coaching sessions of how to roll. Just look back through the coaching sessions, and you're going to see there's 4 different 45-minute presentations on just how to roll things like vertical spreads. Because when you're in a tough situation, that's when, you don't reach into a bag of goodies and think like, oh, I've got this to wiggle out of it and that to wiggle out of it. You do the same things again and again, and that's how you produce profitable trades. But here is where there's a little bit more art than there is science, right? Where, oh, hey, listen, in the next 2 days, I don't want to leave things to chance. So, I'll roll out of it by pushing the trade out 23 days. Think about it. And those are the kind of things, again, the market might be rather slow today. Okay? Don't succumb to the idea that markets can't move right now. There's still a lot of risk on the horizon. I want to thank everybody for joining us here at TheoTrade. We'll be back on tomorrow live right at the market open. Join us in TheoTrade chat every single day. Join us for the coaching sessions. And we do have a class coming up. You will not want to miss this class. It is going to be June 18th. June 18th. We're going to be talking about higher probability and really selling vertical spreads. Now, if you think you know a lot about selling vertical spreads, just wait, because I've actually compiled most of the class already. Again, June 18th, it's a Saturday. The class is going to run close to 4 hours in length. Also note that the following Saturday, well, we're going to have Doc Severson do his class as well. So stay tuned for it, because Well, those of you guys that you belong here at TheoTrade, you're not just going to get a class on the 18th, you're also going to get a class on the 25th where Doc Severson is going to be talking about direction of markets. Thanks everybody again for joining us here at TheoTrade. Bye-bye.